So why do we pretend like Jesus wasn't getting paid to preach the gospel when the Bible actually says otherwise? I'm going to show you in just a moment, but the reason for this video is because some well-meaning but misguided people in the comment sections oppose the idea of anyone who preaches the gospel somehow getting paid to do so. Now, when I say getting paid for the gospel, I'm not talking about eating caviar in a private jet. That I absolutely oppose. But what I am talking about is somehow figuring out how to continue doing ministry and paying for the bills, food, living expenses, basic necessities, providing for your family, which is your duty as a man or woman of God. Notice what Luke chapter 8 actually says about Jesus. Verse 1 says that Jesus traveled from town to village proclaiming the good news of the kingdom of God. And then what it says is that there were certain women like Joanna and Susanna, for example, who literally paid him to do so. Verse 3 says this: these women were helping to support them out of their own means. In other words, people who had received the gospel from Jesus and had their lives transformed then chose to actually give financially so that Jesus could continue to do ministry. In other words, Jesus did not see it as some evil to say, you know what, I preach the gospel, people give me money so that I can continue to eat and live and provide for the people who are in my entourage, as it were, so that I can continue to advance the kingdom of God. In other words, there's nothing wrong with a preacher of the gospel figuring out the financial model that allows him or her to continue to share the good news, to somehow receive funding as a result so that more people could be blessed. Every single pastor of a church, unless they work a secondary job and never take a salary from the local church, which you're free to do and you're welcome to do so, I have no problem with it, but every single pastor who receives a salary from the church literally does this. You show up and you lead the church, you preach, you teach, you do visitation, you do all the different things that you do, and you get paid in order to continue to do so. What I'm just simply saying is that there's another way to do that. If your church is so small so that they could not afford a salary, you can take your skill set into the marketplace, provide coaching and education and all kinds of different services that allow people to experience transformation at a fair market rate so that you can provide for your family. This is exactly what I do with my students. This is how Richard in 30 days was able to launch a brand new coaching program, but helping men of faith overcome their addiction to porn and lust, and is able to generate $17,000 in just 30 days. This is exactly how one of my students, Sarah, was able to, as a postpartum mother, to be able to provide mental health services as a pastor's wife who was at home taking care of their new child, was able to launch a brand new coaching program in one weekend and generate $3,000 for her services. You can, in fact, continue to get paid to preach the gospel by running a coaching program or releasing an online course. And if that's something that you'd like to learn how to do, I would love to help you. Drop a comment below this video if there's any questions, and I'll reach out for some help.